Welcome to the Accepted Authority, where we help you solve a common growth challenge. I'm Andy Marmont, and as always is Greg Rowith is with me. G'day, Greg.
G'day, Andy.
Well, coming again from New Zealand, so I hope it's all going pretty well there.
Yeah, beautiful spot here where we are at the moment. The weather fluctuates from a low of about 15 degrees to a maximum of about 23 every day, and the colder days are 21, the warmer days are 25. So it's a very nice place to live.
Sign me up. Excellent. Well, I can say that because I was born there. Now, today we've got an interesting topic. We're going to talk about, I guess everyone has heard about ChatGPT. So we want to frame today's conversation about, is it a threat? Is it a hindrance? And what's the opportunity for us in consulting and in consulting growth and marketing? So, I mean, I'm sure, have you ever felt a bit frustrated or confused about this phenomenon that is ChatGPT? Well, personally, I've found that AI tools and technology can certainly help us in the ways of generating ideas and maybe some planning. But I guess we want to think about how are we going to use that in our general marketing and our, to help us do our job. I mean, some interesting stats, Greg. Research tells us that ChatGPT signed up 1 million subscribers in 1 week, and so far they have processed 300 billion words from over 1 million conversations. So
wow, some pretty amazing stats there.
The uptake is enormous, and I think as two people who are in both in consulting, but more so sort of in marketing and in growth, we wanted to just pick it apart and just give some straight down the line advice if you might be thinking, should I get on the ChatGPT train? So maybe to start with, Greg, what's your take on it? Is it an opportunity? Is it a help? Is it a hindrance?
Well, I think it's definitely an opportunity. However, it's not the magic bullet that maybe some people might make it out to be. And, for a lot of consultants, possibly even looking at it as a threat, but I don't think we need to see it as a threat. Like any new technology, it creates new opportunities if we understand what it will do, what its capabilities are, but also what its limitations are. And so I think, learning about it and, not being a dinosaur or an ostrich and sticking our head in the sand and, not wanting to know anything about it because it's all too hard, that's not the way to go. But yeah, learning about what it can do for you, I think, is a useful activity, because like any technology, and we see, different technologies and AI technologies, very prominent at the moment. In fact, we're using one on this podcast right now to speed up our recording and transcription process. But so ChatGPT seems to have taken the world by storm because it probably does things more rapidly and maybe even a bit smarter than other similar sorts of tools. But I think the danger is thinking that it's going to be that magic bullet for us. For everyone, it's a struggle to create content. It's time consuming. It's one of those constant tasks that we need to apply ourselves to. So it can seem like, wow, here's the answer. Just throw a topic at ChatGPT and it's going to come up with an article for me. All well and good. But if that's what we're relying on to generate our content, and in the context of talking about being the accepted authority, where does that put you? Really, the best that ChatGPT can come up with is the generic content that it searches for on the web and finds, good content, but as an authority, good content isn't good enough.
Yeah.
And what we need is opinion-based content. We need thought leader type content. So generic content that just is the general how-to information, and we've spoken about this before on this podcast, you're as an accepted authority, or to be the accepted authority, your content needs to stand out and it needs to be different from the norm. So good information, good content isn't good enough, and really relying on ChatGPT to create your content really would just put you in that generic boat and the information that anyone else can find. So we don't want to be positioned there.
No. It's interesting, as someone who, like a lot of us, Greg, we're experts, we're world-class consumers of content nowadays. We get hit with so much, whether that's for pleasure or for business or what have you. So I feel like the content that's created specifically through AI technology, I can pick it up pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And what it does, it just switches off the engagement part of my brain, and I kind of go, oh, someone's machine's created that piece. Yeah. Maybe I've been around content for long to realize the human versus the technology. So to your point there, Greg, I think it's about finding the opportunity of what AI is good at and what we are good at, and using the strengths to complement. So for example, what I feel AI is good at, and I guess it's the tasks that I don't want to be involved in, the low-level tasks. Transcribing a video recording is one.
Yep.
Potentially doing maybe some idea prompts around some topics or some research.
Yep.
And just to get the brain humming along. And I think those are probably two things. So when it comes to, and there's other tools that AI can be really effective for that are also part of ChatGPT, which gives us time to think about, well, what is the next step in our marketing process, or what does this resonate with me? So a lot of it's going to be information that we get that's, as you said, it's created, it's sourced from other channels, a bit like Google. Google will take and find information for us. That's how I look at it. And then from there, how do we then take what we like and then maybe use that as a starting point for something else that we create? So I think it's more about, it's like the fire, it's like the kindling in the fire.
Yeah.
We can use it to fire up the mind, but ultimately we don't want to get in a situation where, like BuzzFeed, I think, laid off a whole bunch of writers because they're going to use ChatGPT. We just want to be smart about it, because in consulting, as we know, people buy from people. And if you can instill your personality, which is a big part of building trust in this digital economy, you're going to be able to create that connection, and ultimately you're going to build your business.
Yeah, absolutely right, Andy. I think, using AI tools wisely, and ChatGPT specifically, to do research, generate ideas, come up with maybe topics that are relevant to our target market. Using it as a tool to speed up our process, but not the tool that we can rely on to do everything for us. Getting that understanding of what it's good at, what it's not good at, and dead right. People buy from people in the consulting game. They need to know us and don't need to know our robot. We need to make sure people are getting the understanding of who we are, what we stand for, and what we stand against, what our opinions are, what our thought leadership is, so that they really choose us. And I don't think ChatGPT can do all of that. It maybe can help us along the road and speed up the process, but we need to add our thoughts and our opinions to what it can come up with.
Yeah, I feel like there's a bit of a shiny object syndrome happening, really, which is creating ideas for us. And if I think back to my days in freelance writing, when I had to come up with some different ideas about a particular topic or different angles, I found that by doing a bit of a brain dump, or say sort of 5 minutes, and just sort of empty my brain about a particular topic. Well, this is kind of what ChatGPT does. You ask it to do something quite specifically, So you might say, oh, I'm a such and such person, and I'm going through this challenge. What are the 10 different things that I should be thinking about? And that's quite good at doing that. It spits out some different ideas. So, for example, I typed in, you're a consulting firm owner and you're trying to grow your business. What are the top 10 frustrations you have when it comes to marketing? And it adds some pretty good information. I mean, it talked about the things that we already know, but again, it just, that kind of thinking is slightly different to the creative thinking. I mean, to me, that's more of almost like a data approach where you think, okay, well, these are the key things. But really it's, you might be able to overlay that with a series of custom interviews, for example, and then you can work out, okay, well, this is maybe the digital sentiment. This is what it's taken. But if you speak to a human, well, actually, that's in their words. This is what they think. So
that's right. Yeah, and I think you used some appropriate words there when you did the research around the challenges, and it came up with the things you already know. and I think, with the two of us being so entrenched in researching and focus on this topic all the time, we maybe know a bit more than maybe the average punter, but so it may be useful. We might throw up things that other people don't know, but it really is just a case of it's information that's out there that anyone can find. ChatGPT just does it a bit quicker. And I know when I'm writing articles or looking to write a book, I'm doing research. I'm going to other sources. I'm going to Google. I'm typing in my questions and queries and doing the research. Throwing that into ChatGPT seems to bring that information to you much quicker. So from that perspective, it's a useful tool. But that's where it stops. I think it's from there you've got to put your take on it. So there's all this information that we know about the challenges in growing a professional service firm, but what's our take on that? Why are those challenges there? What to do about those challenges? How to do it differently from what most other people would suggest we do about those challenges? What's our personal experience around those challenges?
Yes.
All those things are what we need to add to it, that ChatGPT or other AI tools can't do for us.
Something that you talk about frequently, I love how you say this, Greg, is you talk about entering the conversation and you talk about changing mindsets or shifting a mindset. And this, if we think about the ChatGPT tool and similar, we're not going to change mindsets if we talk about the things that are already out there, because people are just going to go, that's a vanilla ice cream cake, that's not very interesting. So that's a really important point. Having one of the differentiators of your consulting firm is going to be the insights and the perspectives of the people that are in there, and obviously the results that stem from the work that you do. That's going to validate your authority and make you be seen as the accepted authority, not the generic content that gets flooded out there. And you can again, it's something that if you want to improve, part of this is improving your. When I say improve content, I always think about making it more contextual and asking yourself, is it actually solving the problem? Is it closing the gap between where your ideal customer is right now and where they want to be? And then you apply that to type punching it in ChatGPT, and you think, well, it's not actually closing the gap, it's maybe confirming some of the problems. Yeah. So I think it's a really important point. Ensure that you have your own flavor to the information that's out there.
That's right. And I think even before, we had the likes of ChatGPT creating content, I've had a beef with a lot of the generic type content that people are writing anyway, the how-to type content, which is informative, but it's not transformative. And, I think as marketers specifically, information doesn't move people. It doesn't generate action from people. It's like, oh, that's nice to know, but so what? We want to be putting out transformative content that moves people to action. We want people to look at our content and say, wow, I didn't know that. I need to do this now.
Yes.
If we can achieve that, then our marketing wins. But I see so much of what I call the white noise type content, where it's just another 5 tips on how to do this or 7 secrets to blah, blah, blah. And so what? Yeah, most of that I already knew. Maybe 1 or 2 points extra, but how much value does it actually add? People think it shows their expertise or their knowledge, and maybe it does, but maybe that's not such a great thing. If it is showing your knowledge and that's all it is. So think about what the content you're putting out there does and what you want it to do, and look at, well, can AI tools speed up the process, make you more efficient, or add value to what you're already doing or what you need to do, maybe not what you're already doing, but what you actually need to do to create transformative content rather than just informative content.
Absolutely. What a great summation of these this opportunity and the challenges that we have with these AI tools. So thank you, Greg. I think that's a good point to wrap up this episode of the Accepted Authority. Where can we find you online?
Yes, or definitely do a search for me under Greg Roworth on LinkedIn or Facebook, or go to my website at businessflightpath.com.
Fantastic. You can find me at Andrew Marmont on LinkedIn or concurve.com.au. This has been the Accepted Authority. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.